We're on the way to. And I said, "Are you serious?"
Pat.
You might as well. I got
Pat.
your
No, Pat.
It was the last day. Well, you all our paperwork, you know. I didn't plan on running. I said, but now I'm putting myself out to
Why does this look blue?
figure out some.
I've gone live. We're live.
I have no idea. I would check my connections. Plug it on, plug the.
I can't even get the full screen.
Huh?
I can't even get the full screen up there.
You had the right color up there for a minute.
No, it's all.
Let it be all washed out. You can only do what you can do.
Yeah, but there's something wrong with it.
Well, try a test and pause.
Right. Yep. It's.
No, they just have the budget document.
Oh.
Yeah. Dawn, why is this? This is live stream, but I'm getting this on here.
I have no clue. What are you asking me that question for? You know I'm stupid about
But it's a
that.
PC.
Is the instructions that are on that page?
Did you see Katie Parker? Did you see Katie Parker resign from BLPA?
No.
Yeah, she said she's having health issues. Yeah.
show you what I was doing.
I have your microphone there. That picks you up very well, even without those up. So
I don't want to be taken up.
you're not that type of a lady.
Hi, Bruce, how are you?
Good. Good.
Anything
Oh,
else?
hi, Jen.
Hi,
Pleasure.
yeah, we've met before several times.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. How's your summer going?
Been fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful
Always
lately,
living up here.
Yeah. Right here. Yeah. Oh. Locked around. You know when the empties run out, right?
Got them, so we're working on them.
Okay. That's what I thought. I thought, oh, I'm gonna be there my last.
I just went up to the county and got some of the stuff for it yesterday.
All right, I'll probably will be coming soon.
Yep.
Well, then you come in, that one. That's what I
Yeah.
did too. That's what I told them. I said, I think they're available for you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. It is 5:30 on July 7th. And we'll join you in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Tom?
Here.
Lori?
Here.
Rudy?
Here.
Lori, here, we have one.
Board member conflict of interest statement.
I live in Surveys 2. So the server is there.
Public comment on agenda items. None? Okay. Approval of meeting agenda. I guess we don't need to do that. Tonight is a public hearing on the 26-27 budget for Tuscarora Township. We're 5:32. We'll open the public hearing.
My phone says 5:30 on the dot. Wait a second, it said 5:30.
And we got started according to what? 5:30. Open the public hearing. And if we have any comments, please take the podium.
So, okay, so today when my deputy was in Rachel, she was helping me go over and make sure everything was correct. And she noticed that I calculated property taxes on the wrong SEV or taxable value. It's been a long day. So she recalculated it with the help of Liz at equalization. So this is the change. It went up about $10,000. So
So the number on here is correct.
the number on here is correct.
So 348, 15, 237?
Correct.
Okay. If I had enough to come, then I would say,
And the other change, we have two additional changes.
I'm sorry, confirm this right, the 863, 477, 37, that's the,
863, 477, 37 is correct.
okay.
So no other changes.
Looking for airport, we modified airport, not on the revenue, that's expenditures, that's.
Airport, 595. Everyone, 595.
There we go. So we reduced, actually, we corrected the repairs and maintenance to equipment line item to 2,000, which was the same as last year. Making their requested budget $7,065.47. And then lastly, in the sewer expenses, under the bond payments for the original or commercial business district, whatever you call it, starting with account number 590,906,992-0, excuse me. That principal payment is 63,000. Those were left zero at the June 30 budget workshop. We pulled the USDA bond books and verified the principal payments and interest payments. So for the bond principal payment phase one, that is $90,000 for this budget year. Bond principal payment phase two is $61,000. And the interest payment, again, the original commercial district is $45,000. Bond interest payment phase one is $66,000. And bond interest payment phase two is $24,000. Again, that's from the USDA bond books. So for a total appropriations for the sewer expenditure, 590s, $831,401 even. So those are the changes.
It's exactly the same, that's why I put the little asterisks.
So if we go to the bottom of the 101 section, please keep the number.
I know, I said that, I felt that too today about food insertion.
If you recall last week, our net revenues and expenditures was a negative 120,000 change. It has changed due to the math correction. So we have expenditures exceeding revenues to the tune of $110,413.61. That will come out of the general fund balance, which has a balance of $1,171,265.48. Any other comments, changes?
I was talking to Rachel today about the negative, after she found the 10, I said, well, thank you. I said, because we're going into a budget in a negative dollar amount. And she said, and I told her about how we had the boiler was going, and I said, we have all these different expenses. And she said, it's a budget, it's an idea. Hopefully they'll last, you want to replace it. She said, you're not the first person that's had a negative dollar amount, maybe some fund balance, but so hopefully our revenues, we've understated our revenues and we'll have more revenue and get all these people hooked up on the sewer and this boiler. Yeah, whatever else.
Okay, so no other comment, you have comments? Okay, all right. Then I will close the public hearing on the 2026-2027 budget. Fine, that's fine. And I'm gonna go right into this. So let's do, Eric, do you want to give us a sewer report? I think you all have the invoices.
Okay, so the sewer project has been very busy over the last month here. We've got a few things in here. I'll start with kind of the phase one stuff that's going on. Since that's a little bit simpler. Because the only thing going on in phase one right now is Max Underground is out there doing individual grinder pump stations. And then the other thing that's in our pay request for them, which is a total of $135,097.97, is the purchase of the ejector pumps that was approved for the change order last month. So the only thing in here is those ejector pumps and then the individual grinder pump connections that they've made over the past month. So that was 27 of the ejector pumps were purchased. So anybody has questions on phase one? That's really all that's going on out there right now. And so their pay request leaves them about $229,543 left to finish out their contract. They're currently still working on connecting individual grind pump stations. And then you may recall from talking about the change order and where we've been processing the funding through phase one stuff. Part of this too is the contingency that's being held back for making sure the township can finish everything up in the overall obligations. So out of that 229 is all allocated into their contract, but there's things like some emergency generators and some of the stuff that we may or may not approve to move forward with. So that one's on track, and everything is per the budgets that were approved last month for the change order. The other piece of phase one is an R invoice, which is the change order that was approved last month. Kept us up through the changes in the blower addition room, the changes that went on the plant and Elmer's contract. So that total is $52,001.68 out of the $77,900. So that one is also on track to match funds as we close out phase one for the next months. Are there any questions on phase one? Okay. Phase two, here's where most activity is going on right now. So we have two pay requests for Walton Contracting. You may recall they're the low bidder awarded contractor for both the gravity and the low pressure system. They've been working most of the spring on the gravity system, and in the past month, they've gone through essentially finished out Birchfield. They came over to Holden, they did a little piece of width right there, and then they jumped to Highland Boulevard, which is that alley piece between Holden and South. Their total work completed is $416,442.08. All that is within the contract. They've been just working on paying, just been changing that stuff. On the low pressure side, it was mainly their drilling subcontractor, Doug's Underground, was working out by Sturgeon Island. They drilled in all the mainline piping to the end of Barbara, out under the Sturgeon River, and out of the island. They put in all the main, one down Grace and one out there. And they've done a couple of long service shops out there also. So that total is $243,721.55. And then Steve has been continuing to count beans for us. And this pay application here coming forward to you guys. We'll put the splits back in line with the ratios set by EPA and USDA. But we got the extra $1 million added in, so we're doing this catch up where EPA was paying all the pay requests. Now we kind of hit the point back, we're back on to the funding allocation share setup and contract. So, assuming these are both approved, they will go through EPA and USDA. USDA will have a small part, and then going forward, they'll be back at the 68, 34, or whatever it is. 32, still figuring out. Okay? Any questions on the work going on out there? All right. And then for phase 2, there's our invoice for our services on the contract management, construction oversight, associated with all that work. That totals $69,235. And all of this is in line with the approved change orders and contract funding. So, other than that, we're just kind of floating along. They're going to be jumping down to south this week, working on south, and the rumor is that they're prepping on Friday to be able to pave next week back on Birchfield and Holden and that area. So that'll definitely help the dust situation out there on that end. We talked to the contractor, he's doing his watering, trying to get some of the dust down, his little trailer. He's going to try it that way. If that doesn't work, we'll push him and get a water truck out there to put a higher dose of water on.
And I'm working forward to try to get some signage, additional signage, to try to keep the speeds down.
Yeah,
It's,
the speeds are a big part of the dust. Too.
Yeah.
You know, if you go through at 15 miles an hour, there's some dust, but it's not as bad as if you go through a 30 in the home trailer or whatever.
Right.
But the best thing we can do is just get this paid.
yeah.
We resolve it, you know.
Update on the phase 1, I forgot to ask when we were in phase 1. Update on the phase 1 Constance Park situation.
Yeah, so they're still working through the appraisal, getting evaluation that they can go back and negotiate whether they can get involved.
And we'll know that by the August, we're
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any more questions?
I'm trying to get your attention.
Can I just say one quick thing? Sure. You're probably gonna see Great Lakes Environmental, starting July 14th, the week of the 14th. They're gonna be out there testing for about 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
They're gonna do some baseline testing in different areas in the village area. So if you see them, somebody says something to you, it's the LPA that's doing the testing.
Are they doing like soil boring or something?
They won't be doing soil boring, it's gonna be mostly surface water. So they have 5 or 6
Ditches and stuff?
ditches, canals,
Oh, okay, this is like
basically,
go on.
just to get a baseline for where we're at today. And then it's a 3-year process. So to see what improvements he wants to see with it.
That's great.
So as if we don't have enough.
I'm afraid somebody might say something to you, yell at you because somebody's testing the water.
Yeah, I'll put it on the agenda for Thursday. Just
Okay.
so my heads up.
Yeah. Okay.
We might see some-
Exactly, yeah. Any other questions? Let's go ahead and, I will make a motion to approve these invoices, for phase 1 and phase 2 gravity annual pressure system as presented.
My only concern is we had a public hearing on the budget, but we haven't done the Budget Appropriations Act yet. So I was wondering, since some of these are for last year, great, but some of them have the 7/2/7/3 date on them. So the first 2 were good. The second one has it's January to July 2nd. So technically, if we haven't adopted the budget
we really shouldn't approve to pay all of them. That's cool.
Okay, so what you're saying is you want to put this on hold for a moment and go to the budget?
If we can.
Okay,
We
sure,
can do that.
sure, we can do that. Okay, I think we're done with your question. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Okay, so budget appropriation. So I will read through this. General Appropriations Act, Tuscarora Township, Sheboygan County, Michigan. A resolution to establish a General Appropriations Act for Tuscarora Township to define the powers and duties of the Tuscarora Township officers in relation to the administration of the budget and to provide remedies for refusal or neglect to comply with the requirements of this resolution. The Board of Trustees of Tuscarora Township resolves, Section 1, title, the resolution shall be known as the Tuscarora Township General Appropriations Act. Section 2, Chief Administrative Officer. The supervisor shall be the Chief Administrative Officer and shall perform the duties of the Chief Administrative Officer enumerated in this act. Section 3, Fiscal Officer. The clerk shall be the fiscal officer and shall perform the duties of the fiscal officer enumerated in this act. Section 4, Public Hearings on the Budget. For general law townships, pursuant to MCLA 141.412, notice of a public hearing on the proposed budget was published in the Sheboygan Daily Tribune newspaper on July 1st, 2026, and a public hearing on the proposed budget was held on July 7th, 2026. Section 5, millage levy. The Tuscarora Township Board shall cause to be levied and collected the general property tax on all real and personal property within the township upon the current tax roll in amount equal to 0.9687 mils as reduced by MCL 211.34B as set forth by the Tax Allocation Board in the 2026 tax year, along with the board authorized millages of 0.9053 for fire protection, 0.1056 for street light, and 4.3335 for police purposes on real property. Section 6, estimated revenues. General fund, $863,477.37. Special assessment fire protection, $325,869.00. Police, $1,559,872.00. Sewer debt, O&M RRI, $3,519,530.49. Street lights, $38,000.00. Boat launch, $8,000.00. Next page. Section 7, estimated expenditures. General fund, $973,890.98. Special assessment fire protection, $325,869.00. Police, $1,559,872.00. Sewer debt, O&M RRI, $831,401.00. Street lights, $36,040.00. Boat launch, $5,018.71. Section 8, adoption of budget by reference. The general fund budget of Tuscarora Township is hereby adopted by reference with revenues and activity expenditures as indicated in sections 6 and 7 of this act. Section 9, adoption of budget by cost center. The Board of Trustees of Tuscarora Township adopts the 2026. Yes. Adopts the 2026-2027 fiscal year general fund, fire protection, police, sewer, street lights, and boat launch budgets by cost center. Township officials responsible for the expenditures authorized in the budget may expend township funds up to but not to exceed the total appropriation authorized for each cost center and may make transfers among the various line items contained in the cost center appropriation. However, no transfers of appropriations for line items related to personnel, or capital outlays may be made without prior board approval by budget amendment. Section 10, appropriation not a mandate to spend. Appropriations will be deemed maximum authorizations to incur expenditures. The fiscal officer shall exercise supervision and control to ensure that expenditures are within appropriations and shall not issue any township order for expenditures that exceed appropriations. Section 11, limit on obligations and payments. No obligation shall be incurred against and no payment shall be made from any appropriation account unless there is sufficient unencumbered balance in the appropriation and sufficient funds are or will be available to meet the obligation. Section 12, periodic financial reports. The fiscal officer shall provide the board and at the board meeting immediately following each, the fiscal officer shall provide the board and at the board meeting immediately following the end of each fiscal quarter and the final board meeting of the fiscal year, a report of the fiscal year-to-date revenues and expenditures compared to the budgeted amounts in the various funds of the township. Section 13, budget monitoring. Whenever it appears to the chief administrative officer or the board that the actual and probable revenues in any fund will be less than the estimated revenues which appropriations from such fund will raise, and when it appears that the expenditure shall exceed an appropriation, the fiscal officer shall present to the board recommendations to prevent expenditures from exceeding available revenues or appropriations for the current fiscal year. Such recommendations shall include proposals for reducing appropriations, increasing revenues, or both. Next page, section 14. Violations of this act. Any obligation incurred or payment authorized in violation of this resolution shall be void and shall subject any responsible officials or employees to disciplinary action as outlined in PA 621 of 1978 in the Tuscarora Township within Atlanta. For adoption. So we need a motion to adopt the budget.
I'll make that motion.
And second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made by Laura Decker, seconded by Tom Fout to adopt the foregoing resolution. Upon roll call vote, the following voted are. Madam Clerk?
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Tom.
Aye.
Lori.
Yay.
Rudy.
Nay.
Laura. Yeah.
The following voted nay. The supervisor declared the motion carried and the resolution duly adopted on the 7th day of July 2026. Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's mark it back. So the motion on construction bills is to accept and approve the bills as presented by performance engineer.
Tom supported.
The town supports the applicant. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Sewer maintenance. So in your packet is, there are two quotes. And one is for Mass Underground. It is for camera and jetting of lines. You'll see a quote from GFL. And the quote from GFL is the top part is for cleaning the lift stations. There are 4 of them. The midsection, it says estimated cost based on 8 hours. Below that is to clean and televise lines. There are 3. So what's happening is we have a grease problem in our restaurant row, is that what you call it? They're just across the bridge on the Sturgeon River. We have Jake's, formerly Wilson's, now Jake's. We have the Tiki Shop, which is now Big Andy's, and then we have Subway. There's a lift station there twice. We've already cleaned out the grease once. We thought we had residual grease. There's a grease problem. The restaurants are to follow best practices, which is to have a grease trap and scrape out the dishes prior to washing them. To figure out what's going on, we need to camera and jet the line, so they're gonna stick the camera in 3 lines, one to Jake's, one into the Andes, one to Subway, and they'll jet them out with hot water steam and clean those. And then, we'll bring GFL in and they'll clean the lift station at Burger King, which always has to be done once a year at least, as I understand it. Number 6 lift station, which is the one at the Rainbow End there by the 3 restaurants. Numbers 9 and 10. One is on Club Road, and it's just not escaping me. Map. The other one's on, and those have not been done for 9 or 10. So, 2 orders of business. The first is to camera and jet the lines, the 3 lines. And our ordinance reads that if there is a restaurant that is not, if there's a problem, whether it be a resident or a business, and it is deemed that they are responsible for the problem, we can't bill that party. So, but these lines have got a problem since spring. We're trying to figure out what's going on there. So the question is, my question is, which estimate would you like to go with? Do you want to do all 3 lines? It makes sense to do 3 lines, otherwise we would really know what the problem is, but it's up to the board. And then the second question will be to approve cleaning the 3 lines proposed for cameraing and jetting and cleaning out clothes.
And the 3 lines will allow us to then know who is dumping the grease or not handling the grease correctly.
Yeah.
So we can recoup the expenses that we can do with.
Right. And you can see there's quite a bit of difference in price. Max is coming in, their quote is $1,185 per location. There's 3 lines, that works out to roughly $3,555. If we went with GFL, their lines would be roughly $6,500 to $7,000. So I would make a motion to accept the max cost estimate on the cameraing and jetting and GFL on cleaning the lift station. That's my motion. Do we have a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Discussion and questions?
So GFL cleaned it out before when it helped had all the grease in the station, right? That's who.
They're about the only ones that do it,
Okay.
Why was it not identified the last time?
because we didn't jet any line, we didn't camera any line. They just came in on an emergency basis and cleaned the lift station. It was a grease issue. And we thought, well, perhaps there was residual grease in the line. It's more than that. And once right now it's plugging up. It's a problem in the lines, it's coating the inside. And then it's also getting into the pumps. And then if it does get through the pumps and makes its way out to the treatment plant, then it starts messing with the biology, the microbiomes out there. It kills some of them. And then we have a real issue.
Yep. I second you.
Okay. Any other questions? Do we have support? Do we have all in favor of hiring Mats for the jetting, the cameraing and jetting the spray lines and hiring GFL to clean the lift station? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll get that thing for ASAP because we're into July already. Okay. Any, and the last bit of business. Any other budget changes? No. Took care of that. The last bit of information are the board meeting dates for the 26th, 27th. Board meeting dates for 26th, 27th fiscal year. It is always the second Tuesday of every month. Yeah, that first day, July 14th. That's incorrect. Historically, I understand we have always done the July meeting. So it's the August date through June of 2027. Anybody aware of any problems with that?
Unless we have an ice storm.
Or flood?
Okay.
Or locusts? Let's leave out fire. Okay, somebody would make a motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Mayor. Do we have support?
Support.
Thanks, Tom. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments? Yes, sir. Pat?
I'm moving slow.
You're okay. You want me to get the microphone?
Nope, I can make it now. Thank you for the exercise. Patrick McGinnis, on your agenda item 9B, I notice township council is here, and you may want to check with them, but that is work for hire. I would request the video files that they do, so you don't get hit with a surcharge later to find and retrieve, because you own those images. That's it.
Thank you. Council, do you want to weigh in since you're here?
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, Rob. Typically, they do leave you the video files if you request it. I don't think there's an additional charge because it's something they're producing anyway, so I think it's a good suggestion, nothing wrong with it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, Rob. Any other public comment? Public comment period is closed. Board comments?
I just want to take a moment to thank Trudy and Dawn for all the hard work they did in getting this budget done. It was a lot of hours, a lot of sweat, a lot of frustration, and
A lot of swearing.
yeah, well, that's unpaid thing. But I just want to say thank you because you guys work really hard.
It's a team effort here, for sure. Any other board comments? Mr. Crowe, are you on yet?
Nope.
No, all set?
Okay.
How goes the, utility going? We're getting
Oh, that's a good point to say that, yeah, I haven't filled out, June 30 order. Got a little project in the works that, but I will give you extended time on your sewer bills. You'll still have around 30 days to pay. And
Summer taxes are out.
summer taxes are out. Yes.
I got mine. Yeah, we got our, okay. Motion to adjourn. 6:08.